Yo, what's good YouTube? It's Jojo ASMR here. So as promised, we're going to be doing some combo tutorials for the Unchained deck. And as well, I'm going to show you guys my updated Unchained deck profile. I just came back tonight from locals at Poe's store. I went 4-0. There were about 40 players. Really liking this deck a lot. I think it's super competitively viable. You can definitely do well with this deck. And I'm going to be showing you a not really orthodox combo. I don't really see people doing the combo I'm going to show you guys in this video. I actually think it's super strong. And if anything, it's my preferred combo to do with this deck instead of the typical Wave King Caesar board. So I can't wait to show you guys that. And yeah, we're going to be giving you guys my updated Unchained deck profile. I think this one's way better than the last one that I showed on the channel. And going forward, this is how I would play the deck if you're interested. So why don't we get into it? So firstly, the biggest difference between the first list that I posted about a month ago, a few weeks ago, and this list is I ended up converting to Tour Guide. So yep, we're playing 3 copies of Tour Guide in the Underworld. What year is this? You have to play this card. Like, I just came to realize one of the issues with the previous version of the deck, if you don't play Tour Guide in your Unchained deck, you're essentially like every single one of your hands is a 2-card combo hand. You need to draw like 2 cards to play Yu-Gi-Oh, which in 2023 is just not good enough. Like Kashtira have like 1 unicorn, Pearly have 1 black cat. Like, you just need to have, just having the option to 1-card combo with this deck is just way too important. And it sucks that you have to play Rhino, but you just need to, because otherwise your deck, like, you have to draw 2 cards to play, you get ashed and you just pass. So this is like the perfect slot because it takes up the normal summon and it baits out Ash, which is really important. So like if you have an extender after, you can keep playing. It also baits out Nibiru, or like makes you, like, helps you play better into Nibiru if you open Tour Guide. So unfortunately, I think you just have to play this card. But yeah, it's unironically like the best Unchained card in the deck now. So you have to play this one. That's the biggest difference from the last list. Obviously, for the rest of the 3 of us, we play 3 Aruha and 3 Shavara. These are the best cards in the deck. You really need to max out on these. And then because we now have Tour Guide in our deck, we've now like lowered the count of the other Unchained monsters. So there's only 1 Rakea, 1 Sarama, 1 Blue Dog, which is a brick, and 1 Abominable. This is like pretty standard now, like standard ratio if you play Tour Guide. These are just like engine requirements that you don't really want to draw. You just want to like summon them in the combo. And Yama can always grab these off turn 3. So you never really technically run out of this. I also add this back a lot of the time off escape when I pop my dog. So yeah, like this is pretty standard. We play 3 Rhoda, or well, 3 Abominations Prison. And this card is pretty much engine, Prosperity. You have to play this card. It's just way too good. You need to like fix your hand, mold your hands, post side. This card gets super strong too. And then 1 card I'm playing, which I don't see a lot of lists playing, is Foolish Burial. My deck list was 40 cards, and then I just added this card in and made it 41. The added consistency is really important, and being able to dub the red dog is super important, especially in some of your weaker hands. And if you open already any of these traps, then your Foolish Burial instead can dump the blue dog, so that way you can like keep playing from there. I really like Foolish Burial a lot. I think people should play this card, even though there's Kashtira in the format. There's just so many ways to answer a Rise Heart that I still feel like you should play this card. I play 5 traps, only 2 copies of Chamber. You only really want to draw 1 of these. And if you play 6 of them, it's not great drawing tons of traps going second. So I think 5 is just like the perfect number. Then for non-engine, I played 12 hand traps. I opted to go for more like a hand trap version with this version of the deck. That's just like my preference. I feel like these hand traps are just overall like really solid in the format. Nibiru is just like the cleanest way to out Kashtira, and having to rely on thrust and talent and all that stuff, whilst they are good, they're not like super duper safe because like they might have Lance and all that stuff. Nib is just like the cleanest way to stop the greedy players. It's also really good in the mirror match. And it paired with like any other hand trap against other decks like Manadium is super solid. You'd rather just like stop them from building the board than trying to break it, even though this deck can break boards. It's just a little bit risky to let them play and then have to try and use your 6 cards to beat them and their full board. So I think just like the hand traps are a bit better. Also, the Nib's really good versus decks like Rescue Ace when they're trying to do the Terahertz line. So it's great versus Sprite paired with another hand trap. So I'm a big fan of like playing 12 hand traps, in my opinion, personally. Then I played 2 Book of Moon It's just really good versus the cat deck when they try to rank up with Yeep. And it's just a good enough versatile card. It's fine to draw as your 6th card. And the last card in the deck was 1 tactic. For side deck reasons, I'm playing Thrust. So having this in the deck is like super strong. And there's also another card on the side deck where you'd really want this card in your deck list. So that's the main deck. It's 41 cards. I'm pretty happy with this list, to be honest. It performed really well tonight. It felt very clean. So yeah. That was the main deck. For the side, sorry, I'll go through the extra deck first. We played 3 Yama, pretty standard. 2 Blue Dog. You can play 3 of this. 2 Red Dog. 1 Abominable. Nightmare Unicorn. This card is like MVP. I love this card a lot. I usually summon this off Blue Dog, and just having 2 spins is really good. And then the best card, debatably, in the extra deck were Mudcracker and Griffin. So, spoiler alert, like, most of the time, I actually opt to make the Griffin lock than making the Wave King Caesar, because Griffin's just cracked this format. Like, I don't know why people aren't playing this card or, like, making this card in the deck. It's, like, FDK versus Cat, especially when they're playing, like, everyone's also playing, you have to keep in mind, like, 6 copies of books in their deck. Like, people are playing 3 Eclipse, 3 Book of Moon. So, like, your board just, like, gets bodied pretty much by those book cards. And so, like, to summon the Griffin and it can't be booked is, like, really good. And it's, like, FTK versus Cat versus a lot of versions of Sprite versus a lot of versions of Manadium. It's just, like, way safer. It plays into less things like Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse. There's no Dark Ruler in the main deck. So, like, I pretty much now always opt to summon this one. And I think other, like, Unchained players will start to catch on to it. And I'll show you the combo at the end. Played Darius, played Caesar, and played Machinex. So, you actually do have to play these, in my opinion, because there are going to be matchups you play against, like Flunderies, or, like, the Unchained Mirror, where cards like High King Caesar are just not good. Or Griffin aren't really good. If you play against, like, a matchup that doesn't really rely on special summoning, like Flu, you need to have, like, the Darius and the Machinex so that you can still, like, have an interruption for them. Because this one is going to, like, eat all of their birds, which is, like, really important. So I feel like these are actually mandatory to play, even though you might never summon them. Just on the off chance you play against, like, a rogue deck like Flu or the Mirror or something like that, you need to play this. Because it's, like, it's your only way to really, like, have a solid interrupt. And then I played Zeus, obviously, because you can, like, full material Zeus them with the Darius line. And also you can just take their Arise Hearts with talent and stuff like that. So this one's actually real. And for the side deck, I played a Duster and 2 MST. Pretty standard. Pops your own back row, which is pretty good. 2 Bells to side end for the Lab. Other matchups where this card's also really good. I played 2 Contact C for Cat. Pretty much just for Cat. Although there are, like, other matchups where this card's pretty good, I suppose. And I played 3 Thrust in my side deck. It's pretty solid overall. It's just a really generic good card. I side this in going first and going second, because going first, it can fetch me D-Barrier, and going second, it can dig for cards like Harpy's Feather Duster and Talent. And then the last cards in my side deck were 3 Crossout. I don't really feel like getting Nibiru'd or Ashed post side. I don't know about other Unchained players, but I just want my cards to resolve. And being able to, like, cross out cards like Prosperity or Tactic is, like, really good too with this card. It's just, like, a solid 1-for-1 negate. And post side, especially when people have 3 Nibs, 3 Ashes in the deck, like, you just don't want to get blown out of the water. So I sort of feel like this card's mandatory. And post side, when you have 3 Crossout and 3 Thrust going first, for, like, you have, like, a lot of answers for Nibiru. And I feel pretty safe usually. So yeah, so that's the updated deck profile. Okay guys, in this part of the video we're going to be doing the combo tutorial. I'm not going to do the standard combos that you can just basically look up on YouTube where people are ending on. Typically right now, the popular end boards that all the Unchained players are doing is they're ending on the Blue Dog plus, you know, Wave King Caesar and a Trap with Yama in the graveyard. You can do that and that's fine, but I'm going to be showing you a different combo which I literally don't see anyone doing for some reason, which in my opinion is much stronger, plays into way less things, and in general is just, in my eyes, just far more of an FTK in my opinion. Especially now in this current format where people are playing like 6 books in their deck, like 3 Book of Moon, 3 Book of Eclipse. I don't really feel like my Wave King Caesar getting booked, so I just would rather just Griffin lock them and just FTK him. So why don't we show you what that combo is, because I don't ever see people doing this combo for some reason, but I think people are going to catch on to it and start doing it because it just plays into way less things. There's no Dark Ruler in the main deck, so it doesn't get pumped by book. So, yeah, here's the combo. Let's say we open just Trap plus Aruha. This is very standard. Any 2-card combination works for this. So, yeah. So we have Trap plus Aruha. Use the effect of Aruha, popping our Trap to summon itself. The Trap triggers. And that's going to summon out here our Shavara, which I put for some reason over here. Then we can use Shavara's effect, popping our Aruha. Aruha triggers to summon out Red Dog. And this is pretty standard stuff. Like I'm sure if you've played Unchained, you've seen these combos. This is very standard. We go Chainlink 1 Yama, Chainlink 2 Red Dog. Red Dog's going to set the other, in this case, the escape, the other trap. And we're going to resolve the effect of our Yama. And in this case, I'm going to add from my deck to the hand a Sarama. We have a normal summon, so we're going to do that here. Use Sarama's effect to set back the other trap. And then we're going to pop 1 card on the field, so the escape we just set. Escape will then trigger. And here I'm going to summon any free body that you want here. I like to keep my Rakea in the deck because I only play 1. So I think managing my resources is really important. Because what we're going to be doing here is a little bit different from what you would expect. Usually at this point, what people would do is use Blue Dog to pop, to summon another guy, make a Wake King Caesar, so on and so forth. But we're going to do something different here. I'm going to actually proceed to link these, my Yama and my Red Dog, into a Rage. Then we're going to use the effect of our Blue Dog in the grave to pop our Sarama to summon itself. We'll go Chainlink 1 Sarama, and that's going to summon out any random body from the deck. You can summon out another Shavara, you can summon out a Rakea, you can summon out literally anything. It doesn't matter. I like to, like I said, conserve resources, so I'm going to keep the Rakea in my deck and just summon another Aruha. And here what we're going to do is we're going to actually link these off, so this will go to the bottom of the deck, and this will go to the grave. And we're going to link these into Mudcracker. So from here we can use the effect of Mudcracker, discarding one of the cards in our hand to summon back Yama from our grave. And then from there we can link our Blue Dog and our Yama into Nightmare Griffin. We can then use the effect of Nightmare Griffin, discarding a card to draw 1 card and set back the escape from our side of the field. So that is the Griffin Lock combo. So what really does this accomplish, you might ask? Well, it plays into less things. So you're not going to get Book of Moon, you're not going to get Book of Eclipse on your Caesar. You also end on both trap cards, which is really strong as it layers your interruptions. And even though you discard a card of Mudcracker and you discard a card of Griffin, you really only lose 1 card. In fact, you actually go +0 because you draw a card off the Griffin that you discard, and then you set back one of the traps that you discard that you had. So really, you have the exact same amount of cards, and this board is just like much stronger. It also makes it so that you have your Yama available on your opponent's turn, which is, in my eyes, like where this card really shines. Don't use this card's graveyard effect on your turn to make your board like 5% better. Hold this card in the graveyard to float it on your opponent's turn. So on their turn, what we can do is, like, let's say they have a way to threaten this. Like, let's say, unfortunately, this plays into the extra monster zone, so they can, like, go for an anima line, potentially, if they play, like, a purely deck. But that's, like, all good. You can use your chamber here, and you can summon back your Rage from the graveyard. Also, something to stress, make sure you do this Griffin combo in the monster zones closest to the main deck, because if you do it over here, you won't be able to use the effect of your Rage, as it won't be linked to anything. So that's just a word of advice. Make sure you do it here. You can then use Rage to link with one of your opponent's cards. And from here, you can summon cards like Nightmare Unicorn to draw a card and discard a card. You'll also generate tons of advantage because it's co-linked for the next turn. Or you can typically, what I would summon is the Red Dog. You can then use the effect of your escape if they threaten anything, a way to get out of the Griffin lock, to pop this. And then at that point, what's going to happen is You can use Yama to summon back a body, and you can use the effect of your red dog to add back follow-up in the form of Sarama. You can also do it the other way around, where let's say we had these. Something like this. You can also just chamber back your blue dog, use the effect of your escape to pop one of their cards. Then you can go Chainlink 1, target Sarama to add it back to the grave, from grave to hand. Chainlink 2, Yama to banish itself from the grave to summon back the blue dog, and now you still can link with their cards. And you just added back a free card, so you can make a free Nightmare Unicorn, draw a card, so on and so forth. So that's the Griffin lock. I think that this is really strong. People don't do this play for some reason. It plays into way less things in the current format, and it's just layering your interruptions and you don't lose to anything. So try it, give it a try. It's FDK versus decks like Purely versus Manadium versus tons of different decks, and this is the combo that I pretty much did every time, and it was just an instant win. The only times I didn't really opt for this play was if I drew Prosperity, because then I couldn't get the draw off Griffin, and then I would actually be losing a few cards in card advantage. So that's pretty much the only time I would not opt for the Griffin line, and would go for the typical Wave King Caesar. But that's the combo tutorial. I won't show you like the normal combos because everyone knows what those combos are. But this was one I wanted to highlight because people just aren't doing this. So thanks for watching. Shout out to TopDeck. And if you enjoyed the video, want to see more in-depth deck profiles like this, give the video a like. And until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.